Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our next speaker, Usman Ahmad, presenting the topic, Unlocking Key Metrics and Patterns Using Grafana.
Yeah, thank you very much for being here. I know I stand between you and the party, but believe me, it will be a cool one. It has a lot of visualization, so we'll not get bored or get sleepy. And don't get sleepy, it's the party time, so you have to awake. Yeah, this talk is about understanding key metrics and patterns. Basically, it's about data, and we'll learn about Grafana, how we can use it. A small intro about me. My name is Usman. I work in as a developer advocate at Grafana Labs. What does this mean? That I work a lot with the open source community and answering them on community forums or GitHub, Slack. Also do documentation, and when I have some opportunities or free time, then try to come to the conferences and talk about Grafana and its use cases. And beside work, I'm a father of 3-year-old, mostly dad time and busy at home. But other than that, I like to write. I have my own small YouTube channel, which I like to create videos sometimes. Not very punctual, but whenever I have time, I love it. And yeah, outside of all this techie work, I like to read comics. Very big Dragon Ball fan, Dragon Ball Super, the series, or someone may know. Yeah, and you can scan this QR code if you want to know more about me or my blogs or details or videos. Yeah, so let's get started. So yeah, today we are here to talk about Grafana, and it will be like this, that I will explain some background, and then we will go with some demos one by one. Probably, I guess there are 3 to 4 examples in total, and we will learn how to use Grafana when you have different types of data sets. So yeah. So this is just a general market reference that a lot of you here are here for the DevOps conference, some of you are for the cybersecurity conference, some of you are from software side. So everyone has unique skills and they work in their individual area. And there are also like other areas like healthcare or businesses or some other areas where we also use technical data or need technical expertise, I would say. And we have we have a lot of data there, and we use software tools or technologies to collect it. And everyone has different title in their respective fields. Not gonna name each and every one of it, but you get the idea. And obviously, there is one thing in common in all of this. So it's all about data. Data in form of like maybe in a text file or CSV sheets, or maybe just raw data. You are collecting data, maybe running a script, maybe a very fancy program, or just talk about like open telemetry. You've got some raw data, but now you have data, what you will do. So that's we are going to talk about today. And yeah, once you have the data, then obviously you have the knowledge because you process it, and then you apply some actions such as where should we focus our work energy, or where are the impact points so that our company or industry can improve or our product can grow. And nowadays it's AI world, so ChatGPT is also used very widely. A lot of data is pumped into the cloud. People store their data in the cloud. It could be public or private, but cloud is there. It's not going anywhere. And with AI, it's getting more and more. So basically, we have like an empire of data, so much data that we even don't realize like how much we are putting up there. It's countless, and it will remain like that forever. And one example which we're going to talk about is some data we use is in the form of sheets like Google Sheets. It's available in the cloud because it's from Google, and we view it no matter how much we want to hate that we don't want to learn sheets, or because it's not our expertise, but there it is because many software like Java or Python can give you data in such formats. And we use it because for us, it's all about like making our life easier. So I'm also like, as said that I'm also a tech person, so I have no expertise such as like learning Excel sheets or Google Sheets, whatever. And I try to use this research. It's like how many of us or in general know about how to use Excel. So you can take a few seconds to take a look. It's not as accurate because the Google even said the result of this research is from 2022. I could not find much recent, which is okay. But I highlighted the important part. And yeah, so we are not experts. Like my expertise is that I can open an Excel file, I can read some data. I say, yeah, this have like permissions of a user, yes or no, allowed code or no. Like this is what I can do, not can go any further with that formulas or so. And this is a real world example. So this is happens a lot of us in real world that when we try to give this data to some other person, those person do not understand like what we are talking about because they also do not know much about it. They don't know about how to use Google Sheets or how to use fancy formulas. And if we go one step further, that we want to visualize all these data in graphs, then that's a very, very complex and very unhappy story for many of us because we don't know much. So just imagine that there is a company meeting in your office and your top Google expert guy for the sheets is gone or on vacation, and your boss is like, hey, can you do that what's written here? And oops, and you start working on it. You say, okay, I have to do it because at least the application part is on my side. So I know the data, but I don't know how to visualize it. And you try, you are doing like firefighting, but you are not going anywhere. It's like it's stuck. You don't know what to do. So you are hopeless and it will not work. The other solution is doing something like this, which is cool, but yeah, in real world it doesn't work that way. So what is the solution? How we can use this uh, uh, data to visualize easily and view all what we need to do, like to present it to in a meeting conference or to stakeholders who also do not want to look at like 1,000 lines of Excel sales data and say, okay, now it is starting to make sense. So yeah, there is one way, and that is like we have Google Sheets, yes, and we use Grafana. And together, we can start visualizing the data and also filter it to our needs. That is possible. How? Let's take a look. So please raise your hand if how many of you know about Grafana or have used Grafana? Very nice. Very nice. And how many of you have sort of expertise or know Google Sheets? Yes, it's okay. The service says true, so I stick to my word. Yeah, so Grafana, yeah, it's available in many flavors. So it's basically available in form of cloud, Docker, Kubernetes, or you can install on Linux, Windows, Mac. And it supports many various visualizations coming from core or from the community side as well. And all you need is to configure a data source. Grafana does not need that if like a traditional software, like once you have that software, you have to configure the database, put some password. No, it just need a data source so it can connect and talk to it. It could be internal or external, and then it will start showing you the data in visual format. Grafana also have, we have a plugin, it is called Google Sheet Data Source plugin. And it is also available in all Grafana variants, okay, or versions. And it also supports various visualization formats. And it is very easy to integrate and set it up. We will have a quick demo about it and we'll see. And now I put this one extra slide because Whenever I talk about Grafana and when I use the word plugin or data source, there is a confusion among people and they ask me later like, is it plugin or is it data source? So Grafana ecosystem have one thing which is called plugin, and plugin is divided into three types. Data source, which means like you connect your data to a source or connect Grafana to a source, which is called data source. And in this case, it's a Google Sheets plugin. The other is the panel. Panel are like ad additional way to view your data. There are some community-based or customized panels which you can use. And there are some dedicated apps like Zabbix or Kubernetes as well. So yeah, now how it is going to work. So this is the requests look like. So basically we have Grafana and Google Sheet setup, and what it needs is two things. It needs the Google Sheet ID and the API token. When it comes to set up this plugin, you have actually three options. Either you can use the Google Sheet API, or you can use the JWT token, or GCE authentication method as well. But API is the simplest, and we will for today we will keep talk about keep it at least to the API part. And then we send the request, and in between we use the Google Google SDK module. Basically what it does, it is written in Go, and it translates the data and try to connect it with the Google Cloud. Once the data is there, it comes in like a raw data format, and we use a function called data frame, which basically transform this sheet into a data frame, and it goes back into Grafana in JSON format, and then we view the data. So now the next step is to how to configure all of this what we just talked. So it's simply two-step process. First, you install the Sheets plugin. In Grafana, it's all UI based. At least in the newer versions of Grafana, you don't need to use any command line or so. And once you install it, the second thing is you need a Google API token, which you can also configure very easily. There is simply just go to your Google developer console or Google Cloud Console, and you can get the API key easily. So let's create a dashboard panel. And this is how we will gonna work today. That first we have two things at least set up. We will use a sample query, and also we will learn how to use a transformation, and we will view data in table panel visualization first, but also in other visualization formats as well. A small note about transformation. So transformation is a Grafana function, and it allows you to change your data in a different way to represent it also in a different way. We will take a look also to it as well. So about demo time. So I have this sheet here. So this is a basic temperature data sheet, and it may be written in the output might come from a Python script, or maybe a bash script, or maybe some fancy temperature software. And there is this data. It has some data for month and city's name and so on. And now we want to visualize it. So how we gonna do? So I will show you at least here how it is done. So I first let me just go back. So I click on add and visualization, and go here, type the Google Sheets. This is the data source name, and this is my Google Sheets. Oops. Yeah, so this is the sheet ID which I just highlighted. Okay, this is the sheet ID, and I will paste this ID here and press enter, and it will start loading. And let's go to the table format. In table format, it looks something like this. So it's now in this format. And yes, Grafana is intelligent because it has like a time series data. So by default, it automatically detects it's a time series panel visualization. But for simplicity, we first go with the table one. So that's one way to view the data. It was an easy example. And let's go back to the slide so I remain in sync. Now we will talk about transformation, but I just want to show one thing more. Now we have this panel, the table panel, and the time series panel, but we can view it in a more different ways as well, in more different visualization. And how to do it? So this is maybe I can make it bigger. So this is a time series panel, and then you can use different visualization panel options like bar chart, heat state timeline, gauge panel, and so on. And this started to make sense because now that raw data which you have, which is only you can read or only few person can read, but now you can show it to others and they can easily read it. Okay, yeah, and some more. So going back to the slides, transformation. So yeah, transformation is a way to transform our data and alter it. Grafana has this transformation function built in, and it is really powerful. And I use it a lot because sometimes the data which I got from the output is okay, but it exactly not to my needs because there might be something which is extra, or I need to remove it, or I need to change its look, and this is where a transformation comes handy. So yeah, this is what I just talk about, and the talk next or the next demo is about filtering the data. So as an example data, I have this Google Sheet data. This is actually taken from our community forms. So basically, it has a ID and a topic name with some other details like reply account, how many views, and so on. And now I have this data, so I can again use the same way, like use the sheet ID and view this in Grafana. I have it already set up here. Yeah, so this is how it looks like, right? And now we want to use this transformation. So now I'm again in my edit mode, and what I will do, I will click on transform data, okay, and select add another visualization. The visualization name will be organized field with names, and then once it is when I select it, this automatically appears, and it exactly gives me the same details as in the above, the title, ID title, and so on. With this transformation, I can rename the content. So ID means like category ID, for example, and title I want to give it as description, and so on. And there is one field, the category ID at the bottom, the blue one. I have hide it because I don't want to show it to others, because it may come from this. Actually, this data come from the SQL, PostgreSQL, and it come, but it's not usable for anyone, and I don't want to show it to others, so I can hide it. And you see this this looks right now above like this. Yeah, we just talk about it, and once I say yeah, everything is fine, the final data looks something like this. So basically, you can see that the heading has changed, and there is no the category ID which was telling from which area this data come from. So I hide one field because it was useless, but it is not useful for others, so they don't get distracted and they have the data which they need to view only. Panel configuration. So now we will go up with advanced in this area. We have done this part, okay. The next part is the panel configuration. So in Grafana, every panel has its own configuration settings. Mostly they are same, but in some areas it differs. So panel configuration, for example, give you on this left side, you see two box which says override, and inside there is a cell config and data links, and then there is value mapping. Override is a special way also to modify data. It is very similar to transformation. The only difference is that when we apply a transformation, the change is permanent. However, when we apply an override, it's basically a masking. So if we remove the override, the JSON will remain same, but in transformation, the JSON data also get changed. And notice two things, or one thing here, that the table panel visualization box is in green and cell config is also in green. This is because, as we just discussed, that panel configuration, each panel configuration has its own special settings. So cell config is only available in table panel visualization. It is not available in time series or any other visualization. So yeah. So yeah, we just talk about it. Override. So you can modify specific fields or series, and you can customize this to your needs. So now we're gonna take a look how to use cell type, how to use override for cell type. So we have this data here, okay? This is the same data which we just view how, in the previous slides, and we want to apply a override property called cell type. Basically, what it means that the cell which we have on my left, which says solved, unsolved, we will make it more prettier or colorify, because then it's become more readable. How to do it? There's a small video. And please ignore this bottom area because I could not create a new video in time, but let me just rewind it back quickly. Okay, so yeah, we are in the edit mode, and we go on the area where it says override, and we select field with name, and the field which we want to select is the status field, right? We select the status field, we click the next add override property, and we use cell type. Once we have selected this, since we want color background, so we'll use color background option and select it. And now we have a colored background available for our specific field, not for the whole data, but only for a specific field. So this is again very powerful feature. The second override property is known as data link. Data links, as the name says, link your data to a particular URL or particular page, for example. And this is exactly what we are doing. That we had a top field name with topic ID, which is also can be called as customer ID or topic ID or get customer ID. Let's say both are same. And since this data is coming from our community forms, so we want to link it. And how we link it? We use the data link. Same, we go in the override and select topic with name, topic ID, and select the next option as data link. You will see this black combo box open. And here in the URL, we first type the static part. So it's communitygrafana.com/t. And then we define this variable with a $sign, indicating that we want for data links for this field with this topic ID. And what it will do is that we have now this field linkable to our community page. So if I go and click one of these links, I will go to that particular page. This example maybe not for community, but very useful for GitHub. If someone is working on GitHub, every GitHub ID is unique. So you can use data link there as well. The third is value mapping. Value mapping means that you have a data, right? And you want to map it in a way that if this means true, then it looks like this. Otherwise, it remains same. As an example, there are more examples of value mapping, like you can use regex or in null cases as well. But keeping it simple, we will use like how it looks like. So if let's say we want to use value mapping for our same status solved and unsolved, and we want to view those unsolved in a more prettier or more useful way, so that for our eye we can see like where we need our attention. So we this option comes in the on the panel side. We click on add value mapping, then this combo box open. We define the condition for the value, that the condition will be like if any text which says unsolved, display it as unsolved. We can maybe say not yet solved or in progress, and we can also set the color. Once we set the color as red, for example, and update it, this is how the output will look like on our uh, panel. So it's now starting to make sense and very useful. So the demo now, yeah. So this is the default data we just saw, and this is the filtered data, the next one. The difference here is that again it is not using any transformation, so there was this category ID, but in this one there is no category ID because it is simply using transformation. And then we have a modified data format, which is exactly what we just saw, that topic ID or category ID, same, sorry for the name convention, but it's just logical name, whatever we can give it. And it has links. So if I, for example, click on this link, I will go to that particular community web page. Yeah, okay, it was a bit slow, but it's now loading. But yeah, this is for the data links. I just don't want to wait too much because maybe we run out of time and don't want to spoil it. Okay. Okay, I guess internet problems for me now. Yeah, internet is extremely slow. Okay, back. Now we come to the last part of the demo, which is a little bit complex but really interesting use case. We will talk about dynamic dashboard variables. So in the world of Grafana, this is something every user wants. It is also known as templating, that you define, you create dashboard in a way that it is all dynamic and you don't need to make too much effort. And once you create dynamic dashboard, then yeah, it becomes very interactive. And yeah, I make this in bold. It says avoids duplication. What does it mean? It means that imagine that you have, let's say you have running many scripts, bash script, which is giving you data in form of like text or CSV file, or and you're putting it on the cloud in Google Sheets. But now you have so many different files. One way is that you create each and every one, every dashboard for those, or maybe you find a creative way that you pull down a menu and say, I want to select this file, then just and the same dashboard shows you the file data for or visualization for that file, instead of like creating 1,000 dashboards. With single dashboard, you can do that as well. And how to do it, we will take a look. And dashboard variables comes in many options, like you can query them, you can use global variables chain, but for today we're gonna take a look at the custom variables. And for demo, I have a very this also take interest of me because it was a tricky one. So I have this sheet. Okay. Okay, I have to spoil a little bit of fun, but it's okay. So I have this Google Sheet. Now this is a pure real world example that There is a sheet with a lot of tabs, like one is for job tracking, the other is something null, fine. Then an inspector inspection, and there's a pager duty. Now, for me, for example, this pager duty data is important because my boss or the team wants a reporting of it. It is coming from maybe a tool, from a ticketing tool that does not support visualization, but it gives me the data about the server performance and so on. And it looks something like this. Yeah, it's messy, but I need a way to find out to make it visualize. So what one thing I see is that since in the world of Google Sheets, everything is in cells. So once you know the cell number, you can get that data. And in this case, I know that this is my cell A1 to A1 to oops, it's my shift is not working. Yeah, this is my data. So it says A1 to E15, and same for from I1 to something M15. Just as yeah, um, maybe I can try again. Yeah, I1 to M15. So I know the cells, but how I can visualize it? So I can use dynamic dashboard variable or templating. And to do that, I have a sample dashboard created. I go in settings and I click on variables. I This is the variable name, so you can in your case you can click a new variable, give this variable type as custom, and define a name to it like sheet var, sheet variable, and so on. And here we can define the custom type. So we know that this yeah, the incident total one is from A1 to E15, something like that. So A2 to E15, we name this as incident total, and same for the next two ones, which are in different cells but all in one sheet. And this is where I can preview the result, right? So this is the data is showing up that yes, this is the value I will get. Now, once I have defined this variable, I have available here in my dashboard, right? And I say like, okay, now I can create some panels in different formats, in time series, table, pie chart, and so on. And I want to view, for example, the incident total. So it will update, and now it's giving me data about the incident total. And I can view also, yeah, graphs as well. If I want to say mean seconds to acknowledge, then I can view it. And I can also customize it, because this is not the default way to, because it's all in raw table format from coming from the sheets. But I have used some transformations and also some override to make it in a way like it comes in a yeah, in bar chart. Sorry, I was just struggling to find out. Okay, yeah, here. So in not in bar, in gauge panel. So the cell type here is gauge panel, and yeah, and I also apply some variants like, okay, these data, the data type of in this case is operations per second. So I use operations per second as the standard unit here. Yeah, standard units and select operation per second. So this is just a good example, because this is how in the real world we deal with Excel sheets, because it's all combined and looks messy, and it's very hard to produce such kind of visualization. And uh, sometimes we simply do not have expertise or cannot go for other options, like to use some other expensive softwares. Yeah. So yeah. Okay, I think we are about to end anyway. The last topic is annotation. Annotations means that um, I can mark points also on my visualizations when a particular event has happened, and it's like vertical lines. As an example, it is already available here that in one of the panel, it is marked as Yeah, so okay, it's not there, no problem, but simply clicking it. Okay, it doesn't work now. Sorry. But yeah, you can do it. It was working before. Yeah, okay, now it's coming. So it's my mouse click. So add annotations, and I can add a description. For example, um, high consumption or high volume, and add even can add text like it's coming from the operations. So I can add this and save it. And it's a little bit outside of the graph scope, but you get the idea that you can do it. It's doable. And yeah. So troubleshooting, now we saw that, okay, we can visualize all of this, we can even filter out, we can do some custom and complex stuff. But when it comes to troubleshooting, it's a tricky part because some or many times, because I have my background also in the support area, so I know that uh, those data, maybe even in the Google Sheets or somewhere in the cloud, are confidential, and it is not allowed to share even if you have a support contract, because you say like, I can't share it with you. Luckily in Grafana we have this feature, troubleshooting feature. So um, let's say that I have this data. This is actually or give you a more better example. Yeah, so I have this data and I say that I want to, there is some problem after an update and I need help. So for troubleshooting, you simply go in the first in the edit and click on this breadcrumb and simply select get help. And there is a feature called randomize your data. So you can say anything with name or labels or values. It tries to randomize it, and now you can see the description looks funny, and but at the same time it gives you all the debug information, and you can copy this dashboard JSON and send it to the support. So this is really a useful feature because again, in support, field of support, it's very complicated because of SLA to share these kind of data to the other side, because yeah, if data got leaked or um, uh, there are some serious consequences in the payment wise. So, uh, but there is this feature in Grafana which can be really helpful. So final takeaways, what we have learned so far, that using Google Sheets plugin with Grafana, it gives you a centralized visibility, not just for you, for your whole team, for your company. Anyone who does not even understand anything about Google Sheets can use Grafana. You don't need to do an extra course from your budget and say like, hey boss, I have expertise or learned Google Sheets. So you don't, yeah, it makes your life easier. Yeah, collaboration and transparency. You can share it with others easily. They can also share it with others without knowing any technical data knowledge. So yeah, very similar to first point, but yeah, cross platform support. This is important because, as I said earlier, that there are many tools in the market which also support visualization formats. You can filter data, create fancy graphs, but they have either not available in every platform or some cost issues. So, but in this case, it's available everywhere because Grafana can be installed on any operating system, and this plugin is also available everywhere in Grafana, either using cloud or locally, or even on your Raspberry Pi. So, yeah. Some future improvements which we are going to make. The first thing is that we are trying to make support for alerting. Currently, alerting is not supported, and the second is we are giving improving the drive integration. So basically, it means that this is coming from actually what we have learned, that some Google expert user who knows about Google Sheets, Google provide this drive-driven innovation support, which means like you can read your data somewhere from the drive. It works, but it's flaky, so we are working on that as well. And yeah, if you want to get involved, we will be really happy because we need we need to know your issues, what bugs you run it, so we can fix our software. And yeah, so yeah, sorry, I skipped. And there are other resources as such as you joining the Grafana community on the Slack channel and also on the community forum. And yeah, we discuss the problem, we understand how we can find the solution, and with that solution we can success. And yeah, you can also be one of this to your team that now you also know how to create fancy visualizations and even can filter data without needing any Google expertise from a Google expert. So yeah, thank you for participating. I'm really glad that you guys joined, and all the details what we just talked, even the slides are available if you scan this QR code. There's also link to the documentation, even put the link for the API reference and how to even use Grafana if someone is new to Grafana. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you for your talk. We still have a couple of minutes for questions if there are any. Also, as always, but I think you know the drill by now, Slido, QR code, if you don't want to ask, or if you want to ask, just raise a hand and I'll come to you with the mic. Okay, then I'll start. What is the fanciest plot type available in Grafana?
So the fanciest plot type is actually obviously time series is something everyone wants to use because with time series data it is easy to see where the direction of your data is actually going. It gives you insight. The second, something very highly used is like bar charts, because with bar charts you know like where for statistics as well. And if you are someone like something like a scientist, then heat maps. Heat maps is also used because it gives you the data. The one example which we saw for the temperature, there was like actually giving a sort of like a heat map panel that where the temperature are most high in all the three region and where is the rather their lowest point. So these are the few examples.
Can you add something custom? Or is it just limited?
No, you can definitely add custom. In fact, you can create your own panel. Maybe you have some software running in your company which do some sort of data and provide some visualization. You can create it and integrate it with Grafana, because Grafana is completely open source, and we have a lot of community-based data sources, panels, and some apps as well. And we will be happy to get more, because this is how we grow. We try to keep it all open source and open for everyone.
And last question from my side. You showed mainly simple examples, like no super complex transformation of the data from the spreadsheet. Is it advised to do the transformation like smoothing or something else on the spreadsheet and then import data, or can you do it in Grafana?
So you can do advanced transformation in Grafana or in the spreadsheet. Like the concept of spreadsheet is that you have some data you put in the cloud because nobody keeps it locally. However, there is a small thing to understand, that if you have this option to filter the data on your if you instead of Grafana filter data where you are getting it from, it's better, because once you apply transformation inside Grafana, yes, it helps, it makes your data different, but it also takes some processing power and processing time. So if you have a lot of queries, like in MySQL case or even in the Excel sheet case, if you have a lot of sheets, it will take time and it will slow down the performance as well. Doable, but there's a cost.
Okay. Now we have a couple of questions from Slido. Let's try to do it in a blitz manner because we don't have that much time. So, is it possible to import CSV from Python script directly to Grafana without integration to Google Sheets?
Yes, it is possible. So we have, if you have a CSV data and let's say you don't want it in cloud, we have a CSV plugin, which is really simple. The concept is same, like you install the data source, the CSV data source plugin, and then just say this is my CSV file path, and it will fetch the data and apply the filters and so on.
Okay, tricky one. what is the actual benefit of Grafana integrating with Google Docs or Excel? They already have built-in functionality to visualize data.
Yes, they have visual functionality, and I'm not saying that it should be replaced. Excel is very powerful. I'm nothing to say against it, but that was the point, that not everyone knows how to create fancy stuff in Excel. I mean, I can say for myself, I don't know, and many of us even don't know like how to use those functions. With Grafana, you saw that we do not do any kind of coding or any fancy stuff. We just use the built-in option, click and try it out, and there we have all the visualization fancy stuff without learning any additional software skills, because Grafana is used in operations or in observability field. So, but not as Excel, because that's for data science or someone in the business side.
So visualizations for dummies. Gotcha.
Yeah.
And next one would be, how easy is it to synchronize parameters from different sheets in a plot? Example, visualize spatial and time information such as position of a person, XY coordinates, in a 2D map.
Wow, that's a very, very good and difficult question, definitely. We have a panel, XY panel, which works with the coordinates. I believe it should be possible, because at the end, if your data is defined in a way that it has X and Y coordinates accordingly, then the panel can auto-detect. Like we saw that if we have time series data, then by default, it was picking time series, not table panel, as table panel should be. So in this case, if you have something like that, but the data is defined in a right way, then you can use XY panel. Plus, there are some custom-made Python or MATLAB panel which also work in these area of visualization, like X, Y, or Z graphs, and you can use that as well from the community and integrate it.
Thanks. And the last question. Given Grafana dashboard is using OpenShift pod fluctuations as a data source, how would you adjust parameters scrape intervals so it would not be total Negro?
I'm sorry, I do not even understand the question correctly.
Gotcha, a little bit too technical. Let me try to rephrase it. How would you adjust the parameter scrape interval? So, who has wrote the question? I guess I won't be able to decipher it quickly. Okay, so
okay, maybe just
come up to Usman and ask him directly, and if you could explain exactly what you mean. But I guess it's about the size of the data source.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not Prometheus expert. I have some knowledge. I know where it is coming from the data, like when you have a lot of metrics, but we can talk, whoever, feel free to come me and yeah.
Okay, then last question instead of that one. Would you say that data sources are first-class citizens? Example, reusable over dashboards and panels.
So I don't understand what it means by first-class citizens, but in Grafana is nothing without a data source. So you need a data source. Once you have the data source, then you can make it working and even define alerts. Like, for example, someone who asked the Prometheus question, yeah, you can, once you have the data source and it supports alerting, then you can define alerting, define some rules like when it should be triggered and so on. So data source is needed. Without it, it's just plain software. It will not do much.
So the answer is probably yes. Okay. Since we are out of time now, thank you for your presentation. Thank you for all you being here.